That's right. You don't dig in little bits and pieces.
We have a camera on today. That's what I'm waving at. But I think, Tammy, what you do is if there's an issue today, you do Facebook Live tomorrow, but not today. How do you do it?
Well, if there happens to be some sort of issue tomorrow, then we have the recording from today.
Right.
And I usually always try and post the show and share from the day before as well, because the people who only tune in tomorrow only get to see tomorrow's show and share and not today's. And we want to show everybody. So we've got the camera from about the edge of the board to about here. So if you're anywhere outside of that, they're not going to see it.
Mm-hmm. So it's just the backs of your heads.
And it's not live today, is it?
No, I've got the shotgun mic right there because I knew it was going to be all of us. Yeah, that would be crazy.
That's a good idea.
No, I don't care.
Is there ever your Morning, everyone. Good morning. Happy New Year. Almost happy Valentine's Day, not quite. So yeah, it's been a few weeks since we've been together for our last demo day. That was, I think, with Scott and the Trentex Trunk Show. So welcome back. Boy, there's been a lot happened between then and now. So we have a great lineup of our instructors for you today. We have a great lineup of classes for the next few months, and I do have some posters that you'll see throughout the shop. Everything's online. That's the easy way to register if you're comfortable with that, or you can also register in store for any of the classes. I think you all know me. I am Noreen. If any of you, this is your first time to our demo day, then a very warm and hearty welcome. It's about us talking to you and you talking to us and telling us whatever you have to say about what you'd like us to be doing here in the shop as well. So we're going to start off with Tina this morning, and she's going to talk about her Learn to Quilt, which I'm pretty sure most of you have gone through that many years ago, but if you haven't, and if you're interested in learning to quilt now, or you better yet know some friends or family members that want to learn to quilt, we'd love to have them start their journey here. We do have enough signed up for the next class to run the Learn to Quilt class, so that is very exciting for us because we really want this craft to continue. So over to you, Tina. You're going to talk about more than Learn to Quilt. So
I am. That's
I'll
kind
let
of a
you.
thing I always talk about more than I'm supposed to.
Just to let you know, because none of us are wearing microphones, you do need to speak up so that the recording can catch your voice. Is that a problem for you?
It's never a problem for me. So I'm Tina Martin. I'm the newbie in the store. I've only been here for a couple of years. So I'm so happy to be working with Noreen. So if you've noticed a change in the shop, so have we. We love coming to work. It's great. We love coming here. But we also like to share the things that we know. So I teach the beginner quilt class. By no means an expert. I just learned myself about 5 years ago. And I learned from Marilyn, who also works here. And I actually work with Marilyn most days. So kind of it's come around. So I'm not an expert quilter, but I love to share my knowledge of what I know. So I know how to do squares. I'm very good at doing squares. So I'm going to teach this. So if you have a new quilter that you know, this is a great beginner quilt. This is actually Noreen's beginner quilt. This is how she learned to quilt. I've sewn my whole life. I had a sewing machine when I was 6, so I've always made stuff. I was the one that taught my friends to do embroidery on their jeans. I did embroidery on the pillowcases, when you ironed on that little pattern. So I've always done handcrafts. My mom and I, Kelly knew my mom, and we did a lot of, she knows my mom always had something in her hands. Knitting, cross stitch, whatever, crochet. So it's a family thing. My kids also do handcrafts, especially my daughter. So this is what she'd learned to make. in your Learn to Quilt. I'm also doing another class, which is, this is my favorite. I am such a non-finisher. I get so bored of the project. I have turned a bunch of quilt tops that I've started or made and like, I don't like it enough to finish it. I've turned them into jackets now. So this was almost a finished top. I'll take it off and show you. So this was almost a finished quilt top. And then I was so bored of it. It has little dots in the background that don't line up. So I was looking at it, it drove me nuts to look at this big thing. So I chopped it up and made it into a jacket. So I'm gonna be teaching how to make this. It's a workshop, which is already full, but maybe we'll run another one. But the jacket is made from a sweatshirt. So super easy, because you're taking a thing that's already made. There's already a pattern. You chop up the sweatshirt, quilt on top of it. In fact, it's actually just quilted. There's no other layer. You could use the use the sweatshirt as the batting and sandwich it, but I just used the sweatshirt inside and made a jacket. So it's got some applique, so this was the block. It's like a Irish chain, and then some applique pieces. So I'll be teaching how to do that. This is another one. I taught a beginner class, and these are some of the blocks that I used in my beginner class, and then turned that into a jacket. I have a couple others that I've made. One is my daughter. I thought, there's no way my 23-year-old daughter would have any interest in these, and I made it for her out of Valori Holt. It looks like tulips, but basically it's big tulips, really colorful. And she said, "Can I wear that?" I said, "You can have it." Really? Okay. So that's going to be a workshop. It's a 2-day workshop. It's really for somebody that knows how to sew, but preferred to how to quilt, because you're going to basically be turning a quilt into a jacket. So that's coming up. There's 2 of those, and if you're interested, we can wait list you and start another class. So that's me. That's what I've got going on. Anybody have questions?
Does it matter the length? Like, I'd like to do one that's long. I've done a short one.
Yeah.
I'd like to do a longer one if I could find a sweatshirt long enough.
If you can find a sweatshirt long enough, you could, or you can add to it, and then, but I would sandwich it. Or, no, you could still do, you could just piece a lining, piece another sweatshirt onto it even. Take 2 sweatshirts, piece another one onto the bottom of it, and make it longer, and then maybe just, you don't have to, you can just, where you join, just put a piece on, like
you did on the other one.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. The double facing.
Yeah, just throw a piece on to show them, because I want to make one longer too.
That would look nice.
Yeah.
That's a great
So
idea.
there's your challenge, Tina, for the class.
I accept, because I want a longer one too, because the thing with these is you're cutting off the sweatshirt, the cuff, so you end up with short sleeves.
It looks nice.
So
That
I
looks
did,
nice.
it's a great length, because you push them up anyway. Well, I do. Okay, yeah. So you could add a cuff to it, or I've had another one where I added an extension that could fold back up, so it's actually cuffed. But to add to it, because it's kind of a good length for, this is more flattering for most women, but also here is flattering. So, okay, I'm gonna make one. It's blue because I started a quilt top. I'm so bored of it. It's trail. I look at all these too, like, and Tammy, Tammy, wouldn't that be such a great quote? Like, imagine the girl on your back. And Leanne's laughing, but she knows that
She didn't get into my drawer of quilt tops.
I'll give you one of those already done, okay? Just don't hack up a whole quilt.
Yeah. Do you buy a sweatshirt like one size, 2 size? How many sizes too big?
You buy them bigger, so 1 or 2 sizes bigger. You basically take a sweatshirt, cut all of the seams out of it, cut the cuff off, cut the neck off. So you've got all these pieces. You put your quilt top on top, or your bits of quilt top, and just keep adding to it. And then you sort of trim it and stitch it back together, starting with the shoulders.
So you're not gonna work with fabric, but pieces of quilt top?
or fabric, whatever you want.
Or
But-
orphan blocks.
Orphan
Orphan
blocks are
blocks
perfect for that.
are great.
Yeah, first lady in the back has a,
Yeah.
I was going
Oh.
to say they have got like dress length t-shirt, like sweatshirts in Walmart. I think they're about $28.
oh, that's
But
perfect.
it's
There you
like a sweatshirt, but it's almost dress length.
There we go. You
So then you can make it whatever length you want it, yeah.
But you also could do quilt as you go adding, because I've added to a quilt that I wished was bigger, just with the quilt as you go method.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I did with this one. I just kept adding things. I took some pieces and it wouldn't fit the whole thing, so I just kept adding. Like the back is a totally different piece, and I was like, I'm just gonna get this done. I'll just put a big piece on.
I think it's a great opportunity for people that are creative and are very, for lack of a better word, liberal in their quilting. If you really want a pattern that you have to follow closely, this isn't for you, I'm thinking, right?
Oh, it's not at all. Oh, it's totally.
Yeah.
You just take all your bits and
Yeah.
like this one, I had a bunch of scraps. So I just did a little bit of piano keys and shoved them on, but they're not across the back. So it's just kind of, you just keep shoving pieces on until you finish, you cover your whole piece of fabric, and then like your whole piece of sweatshirt piece, and then you just sew it back together.
So your classes are the February 28th and March 28th, I believe, and the Friday afternoon. So April, May, which I can't remember when our demo is in that time frame, but we'll be having a fashion show for all of those who have completed your quilted jackets.
And I'm usually here on a Tuesday, so if you have a project, you have questions, if you started it, come in and I'll give you some helpful hints. Like things like, I used a little skinny piece across the top, and now it's too skinny. So there's little things, like I don't like too many little bits at the top. Anyway, little things like that. So bring your piece in, and I will encourage you to just go freestyle. And show you how to do this little skinny binding. There you go. That's me.
Thank you, Tina.
Nice.
And I know you're learning to quilt thrilled. So that's our Tuesday staff member. Let's move on to our Wednesday staff member.
That's
Oh, staff member.
There
There is a difference.
It's you, Maddie.
I'm thinking of when we teach, but
Oh.
I never teach on a Wednesday.
No, because you work on the shop on Wednesdays.
That's
right.
So I have a cheat sheet because I needed my dates. So I teach wool applique. I don't even think we brought any of them out. But I do have
your
my
new
little
ones.
banners. Yeah.
Oh, those are sweet.
So my classes are Tuesday afternoons, the second Tuesday of the month. This is something that's coming up, but this is wool applique, and this is what you would be doing in the class. They are the second Tuesday of the month, so February 11th, March 11th, April 8th, May 13th, and June 10th. In the class, you can do whatever you want. It's all done the same. I don't care if we're all doing the same pattern. I teach you the methods that I like. The patterns aren't always that way. I never do a pattern the same way as it's already been done. I put my own spin on it. Like in these, they have buttons for everything. I don't have all those buttons, so I put some pearl beads in there and then did French knots and just put other things in there. It doesn't have to be the same. So the other class that I would be teaching is a rag quilt. This one is a log cabin, and there's different methods. This one is just a strip quilt. And this one is
the other way around.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
no,
that's
all
right.
right. No, you've got, see the, yeah, it has to be the right.
And then there's this one, which is a kid's one.
That's right there.
And so, it doesn't all have to be just squares. It can be strips. I don't use batting in them because I don't like a heavy blanket. This one is all flannel. This is all flannel. But this one has a lot of homespuns in it. And so on the back side, it's going to be the same as the front side. It's nice and lightweight, and that's how I like it. So that class is February 21st, and it's an all-day class. One of the things you will need for that class are the spring-loaded scissors for those who are taking the class. How many of you made rag quilts? And are they still your favorites? Say yes. Say yes. Now you can use panels. I've used panels. I've made so many rag quilts. I'm kind of tired of making rag quilts.
And I haven't made one, so I just might have to sign up for this class.
So with panels like this for baby quilts, I would just cut this out and then add other bits around it of coordinating. I would probably use all flannel. For your quilting, you don't have to do a lot of quilting. You just need to keep your pieces together so that when you throw them in the wash, they don't separate and get all warped. So you could quilt around that. You can even do big quilting on it if you wanted to. I wouldn't cut the center panel up. I would leave it whole because that's a feature and you want to see that. But you know, you have the 6 blocks, both at the front and the back. And on this one actually, when I made it, it wasn't wide enough. That's how wide it was, and I thought, well, that just won't cover me if I'm lying on the couch. So I added these pieces on the end, and I didn't add it as just one piece. I cut them in 2 pieces, and I haven't even thrown it in the wash yet, so it hasn't bloomed, as they say, as it has in here.
This is another panel that,
That one is really
would be
sweet.
great, and we have some coordinates for this as well. The great thing about a rag quilt, too, you get it done because you do the front and the back at the same time.
You are, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about purchasing the backing because once you buy it, you buy it all at once. So this would be fun, I think, and great for kids, and kids love texture,
Yes.
right?
And there are a lot of coordinates to grow this, whichever way you want. Like if you wanted to put a band around each one of the squares, and then, you know, you have your little seams that come up and bloom. And we have a lot of beautiful flannels in the shop for baby. And then these, I think, are stunning. These are the Kansas Troubles.
Nope.
No?
They look like Kansas Troubles,
Yeah.
but they're Pam Buddha.
Yeah. She's kind of
Very
Civil
Yeah.
War type, you know, and they're beautiful. Just lots, we have lots of it. And then there's this one as well, the Cozy Up, and this is more winter sports, is it not?
Yeah, winter sports
Yeah.
and sort of Canadian theme with
Yeah.
the
So, a lot of options for doing those, you know, you can just do squares. It doesn't have to be super fancy. Now, these are called Star Stand Banners through the year. We are offering these as kits. You would get 3 kits at a time. We're starting with February. So there's February, March, and April. And in the kit, you have everything except for thread and buttons or beads. It does have the backing with it. Yes, those are them. I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
You're talking
Oh,
about everything.
Yes,
in
in
the
the
patterns, it doesn't have a hanger. So my thought was, you just get those little hangers with the clips and that'll be enough. But to display them here, what am I gonna do? Am I just gonna pin them to the wall or, you know, stand them up somewhere? So I did add little sleeves to it. We did get a lot, I should have brought some of those hangers in. There's ones with the little clips. There's another where it's just a little wooden dowel that goes through. There's another one, it's a bit wider, and I thought if you wanted to do that one, cause there's a nice star on the top, you could put tabs on the tops of these, and that would be really cute. So the way we are presenting it, here's the one with the little clips. This one is, yeah, that would fit. these ones with the little heart, and that dowel just pulls away
Yeah.
from the stand.
Pops out of the end and then you pop.
Tina, there's one with a star. It's bigger,
Yeah.
and it is hanging there. So these were, we are doing them, we are offering them 3 months at a time. We're starting with February, and the price on that is
$79.49.
$79.49 for the 3 kits, and then the next lot of 3 would come out. So this goes February, March, April. The next lot would come out April 15th, and it would be April, May, June.
May,
So
February, March, April, so then
oh,
your
yes,
next one would be May, June, July.
Sorry.
Yeah,
And
and continues on.
and you have the option of doing all 12 months at a time. What were you going to say about that?
No, it just continues on, so 3 month slots.
Yeah.
It's just off because we didn't start with January.
Right.
We took a bit of a break to get it started in February.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And I think that's it. Oh, here we
Okay.
are. Isn't this one cute? I love this one. So with this one, because it is wider, I would do tabs here. And then it's easy to change it out every month. It's great to put on a door, a wall, wherever, you know, nice little spot. So that's those.
Kelly, would you like to talk about your adventurous projects that you're
Adventurous, I have a few
introducing here
things.
to
So
us?
it's so great, it's so great to be back here. There's many of you that I recognize. Some of you, you know, you may, the last time you saw me, this wasn't the color of my hair, but, you know, if you look here, it's still me. I know, I've had people come up and they kind of look and I'm like, it's me, hear my voice, hear my laugh, you know who it is. So the few things that I'm teaching are, I'm doing, well, it's an introduction to paper piecing, but how many people here paper piece? How many like it?
Two different questions.
Exactly, they're two different questions. So I used to hate it, and I absolutely raised my hand when people would say paper piecing, and I'd be like, no, I don't think so. There's a lot of things that you can do with quilting, I don't like doing that. But there are places where it is the perfect complement to what you're doing. So I had a few projects. So this is a learn to, and it comes like I guarantee that at the end of the day you will be okay. You might say, oh my God, I'm addicted, or you might say it's not that bad, or I can see the benefit for it. So I am on a track of making these things now. Like for those that know me, I'm very scrappy, keeping, you know, a lot of, the more fabrics in a block, the better. So just, you know, you can make things like this that are just so addictive because you just have like one size of strip, and Noreen can order in, like there's papers that you follow, so you just like start sewing, you know. It's a bit scary because I should have been doing other things. And I'm like, oh, new project. I'm like, Tina, new project, yay! But I keep a list of all the things, so like, you know, hopefully they eventually get done. But paper piecing can be so much more. Like it can be just simple sewing on paper. Like people forget, it doesn't have to be super complicated. You're like, oh my gosh, all those numbers. It doesn't matter. Like it can be something so simple as like just like string piecing, or, you know, like basic things like this where you're making your own pattern to sew on. This is one. So I love Jen Kingwell. This book's a few years old now, but this cover quilt has been one that I've been dying to make. Her books are made where they can be hand pieced, they can be just machine pieced, a lot of them, or this particular block can be paper pieced. So it's so quick. You buy the thing of all these papers, and there is your quilt. So you actually don't even need the book for this particular pattern. If this is the quilt you want to do, and Maureen has these where you just have the papers, and then like there's only like 17 little pieces on there. Like this is such a quick one, because I was contemplating hand piecing this one, and then when I saw the papers, it's like, okay. So again, this can be as coordinated as you want too. These are just kind of my colors, but any one of the bundles would be fantastic to just be able to do one of these. So it's more, the class is like more technique. We're gonna just like learn how to do it, be not afraid of it, and try different methods. And you, if you have projects in mind, you can bring them along.
I think it's kind of funny, Kelly. I had no idea that what I did here for this very first demo, which was the string piecing, that qualified as paper piecing.
Yeah, it is.
I had
It
no
is.
idea.
You
So,
are sewing on paper.
and it's so much fun, right?
It is.
So
Well,
this
it is. It can be so freeing because it can be like, I'm winging it. I'm not putting any patterns. This was one. This is not what you would think of as a paper piece quilt. But all of these units that I made them all on paper. They were all like little leftovers that I couldn't bear to throw out. You know, keep them long enough, keep them all together, and then pretty soon you start. It's very mindless. I found it was a perfect thing to take on retreat. You know, when you're chatting and thinking, oh my gosh, I'm gonna lose count of what I'm doing. So easy. But I mean, it's more to get out of the mindset that paper piecing is only very intricate little patterns. Although it can be. So I just want to hold this quilt up because you'll be able to see it better. So this is just the center. I'll get you to hold that side, Noreen. This is a Jen Kingwell pattern.
pretty.
Green tea and sweet beans, but it's all done mostly Tilda fabrics. But if paper piecing can be just like a tool in your toolbox to help, where this block was gonna be a real stinker to paper piece, or to hand piece, or to do by machine. So I just converted it to a paper piecing and had it done like in an hour. You know, so you could take individual blocks in a quilt and say, oh, I can adapt that to a paper piece. So we'll talk about that too, where patterns that you may say, this is tricky, I'm not sure what to do. Then just say, okay, one block out of the whole quilt, let's paper piece it, right? Many of you, I know we did a farmer's wife, right? Brenda, we did farmer's wife years ago, and a lot of the blocks that were tricky were like, okay, we're paper piecing these, because then you can just have such precise blocks. Okay, so I think that kind of is everything for the paper piecing. But I'm gonna show, this is good for, I've gotten really into hand piecing too. So is there anybody here that does any hand piecing? Zero. You can be my people. So I got into hand piecing during the pandemic, and it was more just like, you know, the whole slowing down and just trying something. And I made myself, it was a challenge at our guild actually,
Yes.
to learn something new. Here, we can just put it
I
down.
don't mind.
It's okay. Try something new. And it was our guild challenge, our president's challenge. And so I decided I was gonna try hand piecing. It's really hard when you're looking at your sewing machine right there and you're sitting here and you're taking stitch by stitch and you're going, what am I doing? But I told myself to try it, to do it for 20 minutes every morning for 1 month, for January. And how bad could it be? Even if I hated it, just keep doing it for 1 month. And after, it was like about 10 days where I thought, I will always have a hand piecing project on the go now. So I didn't bring the quilt that I worked on, but I mean, it was huge project. One day I will bring it for when I get it quilted.
There's
It's
a
bit
little
too big.
hint of that in the
There's a
picture
little,
you sent.
that little hint, yeah, there's
Yeah.
some of the little templates. But there was some hand piecing that I did in this quilt too. Jen Kingwell is known to be a hand piecer, but this quilt kind of had all different things. So all of these in here, those were all hand pieced. The block down there in the corner, hand pieced. Some of them were done on the machine, but it's just nice to be able to, you know, to either do a whole quilt like that, to just have another little project, or to just work it in to say, there's a little tricky part, I think I'm gonna actually do that one by hand. It's honestly, I was shocked at how addictive it was, because it was so precise, and it was just so fun. Like I had all these little templates, and you know, this was for the other quilt that I made. So in the class, you learn how to, I think it's like 2 half days.
Yep. So
learn how to work with templates, learn how to make your own templates, learn how to, all of these were hand pieced, all the curves. But Jen Kingle has some amazing patterns that work with all these curves, and you find they're so easy. I think they're actually faster to hand piece than to do them on the machine. And I don't know, there was just something about slowing down that was so great, because so often we get on this go, 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 like so many of us have been quilting for a long time, and sometimes you think, okay, I don't need another big quilt. I'm actually excited to have a quilt that's gonna take me a year to make. And just have it, because then when you have that in your little bucket, and when you go to your friends to sew for the day, you don't have to take your machine. You're just gonna keep plugging away. You're waiting for your grandkids somewhere. You can just, I know a lot of people knit and do stuff like that, but I just found it was amazing. I took it to my cottage, it's all I would work on in the mornings up at the cottage. And so there was just something so peaceful about it, and that I loved. After I got over those first 10 days of, I'm not very good at this, because anytime you start something new, but it was actually really quite lovely to get into that beginner's mindset again, and then become quite proficient at it. So, I mean, I've only been doing it for, I guess 5 years, but
Wow. Yeah, I guess it is 5 years.
yeah, it's been almost 5 years. Oh no, that was when no, it wasn't 5.
Isn't a beginner
No.
anymore.
No, yeah, no, it wasn't 5 years. It was 5 years from when I'd started that quilt. It was in 2021, I think. So 3 or 4, yeah. Oh no, but for the hours that I put in, yeah, no, because then I got more than, I wasn't just doing it for 20 minutes a day. But it's just something. It's fun to even just try it for 2 half days and to say, maybe that would be something fun to get me off, just something different.
Just think so many people we could have in a room, sitting sewing.
I know, it is, I am addicted, like absolutely.
So what kind of stitches do you use?
You're doing like a little running stitch, right? But it's just learning how to position the templates on the fabric to get the best give. We're always so scared of bias, but you realize, bias can be my friend too, right? So yeah, there's just for 2 half days, it's worth the price of admission, I would say. It'd be really fun.
Even just learning how to do it.
Well, that's it. You can just learn how to do it, and then
Yeah.
say, I'm never doing this again. Or you say, you know what? There is something that I would like to invest a little bit of time and just see. I don't know, there's just something about it that really shocked me, because I was going in there kind of rolling my eyes a little bit, okay, fine, well, at least I'm drinking coffee, it's gonna be fine. But then it was like, oh my, and then all of a sudden it's like noon. I'm like, oh, okay, guess I did a little more than my 20 minutes. Okay, so the other one that I'm doing is orphan blocks, and I realized that I had left my little stuff, they're in my bag upstairs, but it's fine. They were just little ones, and I'm thinking, oh my god, they'd be perfect for Tina's jacket. I took out this little bundle of blue orphan blocks, and I'm like, oh, there's a jacket. Or if you don't want to make a jacket, I have so we're doing it, there is a lecture that I'm doing on Zoom. So I have put together a lecture, and it's really, Zoom is just such a good way to do it, because you can have more people, and it's just what to do with orphan blocks. And there's you can make quilts, so many different types of quilts that you can make using up those orphan blocks, because who doesn't have them, right? Where exhibit A, you start a project and then you go, I'm done with this, oh crap, I got a bunch of blocks, but they're still gorgeous, they could still be something, right?
Or you ran out of background.
Or you ran
and
out,
you had to choose
or
another
I mean,
background.
for me, I would go home from a guild meeting, somebody would show a quilt at a guild, and I'm taking a picture and then going home, and I'm like, I just have to make that block. I just have to see how and I'd have all these random, and I'm like, what was where did I get this from? And then you see someone at guild and you're like, oh, that was it. I was like, oh, that is a gorgeous little block or whatever. So this was my first orphan block quilt, but it was more just to show how you could just put a whole bunch of different,
Oh, this is your back.
This is the back.
Yeah, wait till you see the other side.
no,
Yeah.
this is the back, but I brought it to show the back. Because I just took random blocks, like you're just pulling them all together, and then how can I make this into a quilt? So this was just like one way of just like putting a whole bunch of blocks together, separating them slightly. The quilt was called Journey of a Quilter, and so I thought, if not now, then when? I'd been saving them, and I thought the front side is the pretty Journey of the Quilter. This is the real Journey of the Quilter. Yeah, so it was just an idea, like, you can see the front.
You have to show.
Well, I guess I have to show you the front. It's one of my favorites that I've ever made, so
yes,
it's really pretty.
It's pretty cool.
So it's called Journey of a Quilter, and it just has all these beautiful little sayings, and so it's got a little bit of embroidery, a little bit of applique, like just all the fun things. But it was more the fact that it was called Journey of a Quilter, and I had been saving these blocks, saying, when am I gonna use them? And you could see even the thing that made me laugh the most was this row along the bottom is my border. So even on this quilt, I made too many. Like even for this, I couldn't count, and I'm like, they're going in the back right away, they're gone. So, or you could do things like, I have a whole bunch of stars. I'd started making stars, but then I'm gonna make a star a day. Well, clearly that lasted for 30 days, or I'm gonna do this. I get into a lot of, I'm gonna do something for so long, and then fizzles out, because then I find the next good thing too. But I ended up taking all my stars, and so this is another thing. You can pick similar type blocks. It's another orphan block, orphan quilt. Because I took all these random stars. You may have to make more of something. That could be what happens, is that you, but this is more just an example of, we've got some kind of a grid, we're gonna fill it with things, different size blocks, right? So this is a different kind than the last one. But again, using up all random things.
It doesn't look very random, Kelly.
No, but that's what we talk about. So the Zoom is about lots of examples, and I send you the whole slideshow, so you have lots of examples, not just of my quilts. Like I go online and I find, oh, I love the example of what this shows, and just to get you thinking of things in different ways. You have a little bag of orphan blocks, and then you think, I never even thought about the fact that I could do that with them. And you just want to get them made into something. They're perfect for, like, well, I made this to donate, and then I thought, oh, I should actually keep it for a little while so I can talk about it. But this was one where I had these random blocks that I'm like, I don't even care what I'm doing with them. So what I did was I just didn't even look at the block, and I just cut them into sizes. So I literally, well, I didn't close my eyes because that wouldn't be safe, but like the blocks are cut up in random, just in there, and then just made them fit a space.
Improv. A little bit of improv, right?
That's my improv. For those that know me, I'm very I'm very precise and all of that, but at the same time, I can see the fun in this. And you're using up scraps, and you're just like, I should have taken a picture. I think maybe I did in my thing of what these blocks were before I just started chopping them to put them into something. But it can be very perfect. Let's make stars, or you're gonna bring blocks and then just you've got 12 blocks, but that's not enough for a quilt. So what can I make to add into it? And so there'll be all kinds of ideas, different ways of thinking about it, and that's just a Zoom thing. And then if people want it, there's an in-class, like a few weeks later or
Follow-up,
something,
yeah.
follow-up, if people wanted to, and we come in class and we're gonna put up some design walls, bring your blocks, and then we're gonna play. It's like, I've had so much fun doing that in the past with a few of my club classes, and it's just been a blast, because you bring this stuff and you're like, okay, but you've learned a few things, or seen, oh, I kinda like the way that looks, or no, I don't like the cutting up thing, but I think, something that's more constructed, would be more my style. So there's no one way to do it, and lots of learning, and then you could come in. You could either just go, okay, I got the idea, or you could come in for the one day and we'll work on each other's up on the board. Because I, you know, as many orphan blocks as I've used up, I don't know what happens. I still have a whole bag of them.
So the Zoom class is in the evening too.
Yeah, it's in the
7 till
evening.
8:30, $10. As many people, I think probably
We could have like we could have 100
You
people.
could have up to 100
yeah,
people,
on
so
Zoom.
it's,
But so it's more just like a little lecture, so you could just pay $10 and then that's it, and then just, I'll be sending those slides out to everybody, so then you have like a visual of ideas, and then if you wanna come in and play in person, we have that too.
And if you've ever seen one of Kelly's lectures, there is absolutely no lack of inspiration.
it's amazing.
Like, you will find something in there that you want to do.
I heard Kelly, I heard this lecture, I think it might have been
I did
in
it
person.
for our, I did it for our guild
Yeah,
during
yeah.
COVID, yeah.
And I emailed her afterwards and said, does it make me a bad parent if I wanna have more orphan blocks?
I just want
It's just like
to, I know, I just want to
possibilities
start
are
making
endless.
little things, but you just start looking at what you have and say, how can where's something cohesive that I can pull these together? Because sometimes you're like, I don't know, I have a few of these, a few of those, a few of those, but you know, you have 4 patches from an exchange that you never did put into a quilt. You have 5 extra 9 patches, or all of these things that, why are you saving them? That's what it comes down to, right? Why are you saving them? So I can give you ideas and help you with that.
So, any
That's me.
questions for Kelly? Thank you.
And it's so nice to be back here, I can't tell you.
Welcome.
It really is,
Welcome back,
it
Kelly.
really is great.
Tammy, you do a little bit of piecing, a little bit of applique.
Okay. I also had
Lots
to
of
have
precision.
notes, guys. Need my notes. Okay, so classes. Lots of exciting ones that are coming up. Most of you guys know I also do a lot of applique here. I am not as free and wild as Kelly. I have this tunnel vision where when I have something, it has to, I can only do certain colors and that sort of thing. But what I have done are a lot of the pillows, the orange peel pillows, which I can pop out for you. And what we can do, it's not just creating the actual orange peel. There's some different ways and different techniques that I will teach you how to use templates, how you can do a plain needle turn. There's interfacing flip and sews that you can use. There's a lot of different techniques that some people prefer. And I like to kind of apply those so that everybody has a taste. And in this case, this one I just did up a table runner from bits that I had left over. And this one, I started turning these into pillows because they were kind of too small to be sitting on, you know, for anything else. So if you want to turn that over for me. So I'll also teach in these classes the technique of making the nicely covered zipper covers and that sort of thing in there.
Finishing is Tammy's, like,
Yeah, like I do like to finish and I like to show
Expertise.
people how to kind of take it up that next, you know, if you've been into the shops and see what it costs for a pillow, just a decorative pillow, it blows my mind what they're charging for just a plain, you know, pillow with a zipper in it. That's ridiculous. Anyhow, so this is another one
yeah,
that
so you, go ahead.
that I did with this guy, Blackbird's Nest. This was a lot of fun. I added a little bit of the wool as opposed to fabric. I just wanted to give it some different textures, give it something different. But that's sort of the things that we talk about in the applique class. And again, it's a skill that you can apply to a lot of different projects. So things like, Tina, when you talked about doing applique on your jacket, you did some really cool stuff that is on there. So applique doesn't have to just be one whole project, all applique. You can, oh, thank you. This one's been around, but I just wanted to kind of show you the idea of how we can put piecing, mix piecing and applique and have it turn out to be so different, right? So that's really what I want to impart to people is the different techniques on how to applique and where they can put it. And use it, I should say, is a better saying that.
I think Tammy lives in a time portal because she gets so many done, and I don't know how, but they're all like.
The added
beautiful
benefit
works.
in Tammy's classes are the organizational skills, right,
Oh.
Tina?
Yeah.
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 That's, there has been talk that I have a problem, but it's okay. I'm all right with that.
No, I'm just so organized. Like,
well-
you really do get a lot done.
But that to me is how if I don't have it organized in certain ways, I tend to become paralyzed with, there's too much to do. And I just feel, if I have it, sectioned off and organized, I can get a lot accomplished. Sitting down for 20 minutes, like you're saying in the morning, maybe I have that half hour. I could, if I have things sitting properly in a basket, organized, half an hour, you can accomplish a lot. You can make a lot of blocks in that short period of time. But anyways, I digress. See what happens? So that's going to be one of my classes. Another class that I'm going to be teaching is this. This is called the Fleetwood Tote. It has been a lot of fun. I've gotten a lot of really positive feedback from people that have really liked it. The bonus of this one, you're going to learn about putting in your the inset pocket, zippers. I know that's a big thing with some folks. They don't care for zippers. There's a slip pocket on this side. A lot of you that do know me know I cannot leave a pattern alone. I have to muck with it and turn it around or do something that I have to add to it. This one I did add more pockets inside. You guys are welcome to come up and have a look at these after. Just because I didn't like the way they did the pocket, so I of course thought I knew better and I had to add more. Which then I think led to with this one was a glass case matching, notebook cover that matched, and a change purse. So anyways, this is going to be a really fun class. If you've got some fabric that is a large print, or I don't know, it just could be something that you really, really like, and you don't want to,
Tildas.
you don't want to hack them up and that sort of thing. This would be a great project to, use that favorite piece of fabric for. This is sort of my wintry one, and maybe fall. But now I'm going to do nice summer one or that sort of thing. So we've got a few of them. And that's this class. And this is it's a full day class. There will be some homework to do before coming, so that we will, by the time you are going home, you'll have it done. Okay? Yeah.
That was March 26th.
March-
I remember something.
Oh, okay, there we go, perfect. Okay, one other one. This one is really cute. And I used, as you can see, all of the Quiet Grace that came from it. This is called Schnibbles. Tammy had a Pin Pal, thank you,
Yeah.
book that unfortunately we haven't been able to get back in stock yet. I
Yeah,
don't know
it
if
was
it'll be-
a martingale one.
Yeah.
They haven't sourced out to
Yeah.
another publisher yet. We're still crossing
Yeah,
our
hopefully.
fingers, but
So Schnibbles came out, and these are these tiny miniature little
Pincushion.
pin cushions, thank you. And they're really cute. You're using very small, as you can see, small amounts of fabric. And again, please feel free to come up and have a look at them. There's all different ones that we've got in here. This one, however, is my Ode to Leanne. This one was not in the pattern, but I made it anyways, just for Leanne. The teeny tiny, baby, just for her. So anyhow, this is going to be a Saturday class for the day, and all you're gonna do is bring a pile of scraps that you wanna play with, and we will put a bunch of these together. So I had a lot of fun making them, and they're great for gifts, that sort of thing as well. And it doesn't have to be, you know, I pulled together a couple, you know, if you wanna do a whole bunch in one colorway, how cute would that be, you know, or the purples and the creams, and just sort of really sweet, something different. So
You
that
could fill
was,
them and use them as those little heat packs.
yeah,
Those would be pretty. Could
oh,
always,
that's a good idea,
yeah.
make really pretty ones.
Instead of that,
If you ever wanted a chance to play around with some little tiny piecing
Yeah.
without a huge commitment of a quilt or even a table runner.
Exactly,
That's
yeah.
that's the thing to do
And-
now.
Exactly.
I would like to say to you, you know, everybody looks at these and they go, oh, I can't do that, that's, honestly, it's smaller, not harder, that's all it is, it's just smaller pieces. Okay, so you would, you will have a lot of success, and a lot of fun making those, and Tina, way to go, because now you put that in my head. Right? We're in a fight, we'll talk about it later. That's a really
Then you can
brilliant
always
idea.
use it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Okay, one other class that I'm doing is, this one,
Dresden.
Dresden's, so that's all also part of the applique,
Right.
classes. So these ones are, another one of the things that I will kind of give you some different tips and tricks on how to do your Dresden's, the different sizes, and how to do the applique so that you are not seeing any of the stitching. I am not teaching machine applique in this one. This is hand, so that's kind of a thing.
You don't have to lug your machine in.
No, you do not. Well, yes,
Sew the plates
yeah,
together.
plates together,
Yeah.
but the rest is all going to be done by hand. So then I have building basics over here. This quilt is, I know if you are a seasoned quilter, you're going to look at it and say, okay, well, it's not anything crazy and exciting. But what it is, and what I would like to impart in the class, so many times I have heard people come into the shop and say, yeah, I didn't finish that quilt because, you know, I couldn't square those blocks up, or I couldn't get it to sit right, or I couldn't. Okay, so I want to kind of deconstruct that theory of people that come in to say I can't do it, to now let's give you the tools on starting off and building your success on the right way to make a block. For example, you might look at this and you've got an hourglass in here. And people will come in and they'll say, well, yeah, it was, you know, I was full of those half square triangles. I couldn't get them to line up. They didn't sit properly. I want to teach you how to make those, and not necessarily, Leanne, don't get upset, using Tucker trimmer, but different ways of making those half square triangles, because the key to success in a quilt is squaring it up, right? You want to square it up. But there's also other things that we'll talk about, and that's pressing. What one might think is pressing, another one thinks differently. And that's also a key to having your blocks lay nice, come together, have your points, not lose your points, that sort of thing. So all in this particular one has got very basic fundamental kind of blocks, but there's going to be some skills in learning how to piece those so that they all lay together perfectly. And from that, what I'm hoping is you're going to be able to take those skills and apply them to, you know, a much more in-depth pattern. You'll be able to look at patterns, read them, and say, oh, wait a minute. Oh, I don't have to be afraid of this block. I remember, I know how to do this one now. And I think that can be kind of exciting, because then it's going to open you up to have building that confidence of learning other blocks. Okay, so that's going to be a really fun one. And that one is February. It's 3 full day classes starting in February 25th, and so on. sorry, I'm trying to be cognizant of time. Tilda. Okay, you guys, for those of you that are the Tilda lovers, tomorrow is the release date of the new Tilda that's coming out. I have a real thing for the dresses. I think they are so stinking cute. I just love them. I did Millie's dresses and it was a huge success. Everybody loves that dress quilt. Tammy, we've recolored it in
Mostly Peace and Plenty.
Yes.
Yeah.
That we've redone it in to make new kits because it's just been so popular. This one, and I'm trying to find the picture that's a better, the blue one is a full picture of the actual quilt.
I think it's
There he is. So this one is reminiscent, I'm gonna say more of the 50s kind of dresses. Really cute. Now, this is done on a blue background, but of course we can do it on whatever we like. There's another one showing it in pink. These are the, here, I can put this down this side. So these ones are, what did you
These are
call
the
these?
tipsy blenders.
A tipsy blenders.
The line is called Sunday Brunch, and it's all about having a little toddy in the park with your friends, and,
Yeah.
you know, great Sunday brunch, and the blenders, she's called the tipsy blenders.
These
They're
are
gorgeous. They're
so
just gorgeous.
beautiful. As I say, we can release all these. There's a whole other bunch of coordinates as well that go with it. You'll notice them in the book, and that's all being released tomorrow. Big day, so that's really exciting. So this class, and it's a repeat block, so we're only gonna have 3 half-day classes. There'll be some ways to ensure that you get that nice finished block. This particular one, when you look at it and you get up really close, there's some 1-inch quarter pops in here that just are a little tricky. But if you are not careful, you're going to lose the effect of that hourglass shape to that dress. So you want to be really careful with that. And those are the things that I will talk about in the class on how to get that look, that you're, have the nice piecing so that it all fits together really well. Okay, and last but not least, I am doing a cross stitch, learn to cross stitch. We do have a cross stitch club here at Quilters Cupboard, and we've had quite a few people that have been interested in doing some learn to cross stitch. So this one, for example, this one's a really cute one. I love this one when we got it in. It's done on a 14 count. And that's kind of where I'm going to start everybody that's going to be doing the learn to cross stitch, mainly because, I want to see you complete it and finish it. And that's why we're also going to start with kind of small kits to get started with, because you're going to learn how to do this, and then you're going to, by the time we're done, you'll be mounting it or stuffing it, making a pillow. Do whatever you like. You okay, Merlin? That's all.
Nice music.
Yes, very nice. So again, my goal is I like people to be able to take something from the beginning to the end. When you finish the class, I want you walking out with it either mounted or, as I say, stuffed, turned into this guy. I turned into a pin cushion and a thing to hold my wonder clips when I'm sitting and doing hand binding. Just something different. But the key is, by the time you're finished with my class, I want you to be confident that you can go out there into the store and look at some of those kits and say, yes, I can do those now. You've got all the skills that you're going to need to take with you.
Thank you.
That is me.
Lots of options on the calendar.
Yeah, sorry, a little long-winded.
So I know you're getting antsy, so hopefully you can bear with us. Here, Leanne's awesome quilts classes, and Tammy has a couple to tell you about as well. So Leanne has, these are, one is brand new, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Brand new. So, hi everybody. Those of you who know me know how much I love my Studio 180 design rulers. And I look at things like this and I go, oh, I could do this and I could do that, and this tool and that tool, and lots of us have tools that we've had for a while. We don't always get to play with them. So I'm constantly on the lookout for new patterns that can help us to bring them out of our toolbox again, or bust them free from the cello wraps that they might still be in. So this is a brand new pattern. This is just a small version of it. We will be getting the line of batiks that are featured in the picture on the pattern, but then I wouldn't have something to show you guys if I waited for those fabrics. So I cut this out on Sunday, worked feverishly every evening this week, because I had to have something to show you guys in amongst my other job. So when I look at this, how many of you can spot the rulers that I maybe used for this particular pattern? We have Lemoyne Star, right? That's a given. In the middle. In the middle of this tiny little block, these little sawtooth stars, that's your wing clipper. Surrounding that is your V block. Traditionally, you would see that as a template or a paper piecing kind of shape to make. And also I used my 4-patch square up ruler in that. So this particular one gives you a chance to use 4 different rulers. The 4-patch square up is an option. You certainly don't have to have it to be able to make it. But if you do and you haven't used it for a while, here's your chance, because the bigger picture, there's even more of them to make.
Yeah.
So, you can pass that around, just take a look at it. So those lines of batik fabrics we will be getting in those colors. So I went diving in my stash because blues and pinks and a little bit of a purpley in there are something we can almost always find on the batik wall. Vanna over here is holding up a wing clipper. Thank you very much.
These are the Studio 180 rulers that she's talking about.
Yes, so there's all kinds of them that help to oversize a little bit, and we trim down for precision. I really like that part. Improv is freeing for a lot of people. I totally get it. It's just not my jam. So I love to share what I do like.
That's good. It takes us all to make it work.
And I'm always all about taking a traditionally written pattern. Like this one is not written by anybody Studio 180 related, and it doesn't have the instructions for that. So my whole thing is any pattern that you see that you like the looks of, with these kinds of shapes, stars, points, all that kind of stuff, can be modified to use your Tucker tools. I always say to everybody, keep a little book that has all of your instructions, all of your charts for the sizes, for all the different kinds of components, etc. And I'm there to help you figure out how to take a traditionally written pattern that maybe has a picture of the template shape for this V block. How do we adapt it to use the Studio 180 ruler, that kind of thing. So I call that Tuckerizing. I didn't make that up. Deb Tucker herself made that up, but it perfectly describes what we do to the patterns that I love. So along that line, I've also brought back by request the Swoon 16 pattern. This particular pattern is from Thimble Blossoms. Camille Ross Kelly made this pattern quite a few years ago. It is her #1 selling pattern of all time. Is her Swoon line of patterns. So these are 16-inch blocks. The pattern has 16 blocks in it. I only have 12 here because the other 4 are my teaching pieces. I have orphan blocks like you would not believe from all my teaching pieces. But again, these are tools that a lot of us have them in our toolbox at home. We've got the wing clipper again to make the flying geese pieces. How many people have a love-hate relationship with the flying goose block? You know, but I really like the precision that everything created comes out from using the Studio 180 tools. This one also uses the corner pop ruler for the stitch and flip, flippy corner, snowball corner, connector blocks. There's so many different kinds of names for that, where you put a square on the corner of something, stitch, cut it off, triangles galore, giving you grief, etc. But the corner pop ruler makes all of these so much more precise, because when you want them lining up with all the different points, they need to be a little bit more precise than that. But there are ways to get us there. I will help you along the way master these tools. So, you know, maybe you want to make a big quilt, maybe you don't. The little block, the reddish block on the very top over there is the same block, thank you, Tammy. That is the same swoon 16 block. I'm going to turn that into a pillow. And it's again about color play and where you can use different kinds of fabrics. I talk a lot about that in classes. They don't always have to look exactly like the pattern. You can change where you put low volume versus, 5 meters of background that all has to be the same. You can change them up a little bit. Tammy would have been so proud of me at Christmas time. I took some winter panels that we had here and turned them into pillows with the flap and the zipper on the back. But I gave them away, so I don't have them here to show. I had to show her pictures.
They were beautiful.
Those could have been AI.
That would have taken me way longer than actually making the pillows. But sometimes that's all you want to do is make a block, test something, and then turn it into a pillow. So those are sort of the, and right behind Tammy, sorry, there's a little mini version, that little guy on the corner there. The one that's layered, ready to quilt. I don't know why it's not quilted yet, but it hasn't made it underneath the sewing machine needle to get it quilted. So that's the same block done smaller. They don't always have to be big. You can miniaturize, you can change the sizes. And that's a big thing with all of the Studio 180 rulers, is there are so many size options for each ruler. It's not one ruler does one size. Lots of different size options available. The only other thing I want to chat about is those are in-person classes that I'm doing, but we also have not only Kelly's Zoom class, but we also have some virtual classes where you can actually buy a video series. And there's a couple of ones that may or may not have been on your radar if you are interested in these tools. So also over in the corner behind Tammy there are samples of the Lemoyne Star blocks that are featured in the Lemoyne Star Virtual Academy. So it's a really deep, in-depth dive into everything that you can do with your Lemoyne Star ruler. There are 8 videos in the series. You get them all at once, works through all the different technique sheets. It's always that, but wait, there's more to be able to do with your tools. They better be more than just a one-trick pony for one pattern only. That's why I love to teach everybody how to tuckerize patterns, because you may have bought it for one pattern initially to start with, but there's so much more you can do with them. So that one specifically works through Lemoyne Stars. That is available on the website now, and it has been for a little while, but sometimes it's worth revisiting our website to take a little tour around the website. There's bound to be some new things that you'll see, but there's also a new virtual academy that will be coming out in February. The videos are done, it's being edited, etc. And this is called the Seasonal Stitchy Stars Runner. I can't say that after a tipsy breakfast. Tipsy brunch. So this was a Lori Holt pattern. Again, it's something that wasn't written with the Studio 180 design rulers, but in the video series, I've built the blocks twice. I did one version of the whole runner where I walk you through how to make it exactly the way the pattern instructions are written. No specialty rulers required. Each one of the blocks I then also stop and say, okay, now if you wanted to tuckerize the Flying Geese components, if you wanted to tuckerize the Lemoyne Star block, this is what you would do. So you get that instruction as well. There can be a real mix and match. You can do some of them traditional piecing. You can do some of the blocks and some of the pieces with the tools that you have. You don't have to have all of them that I used to make my version of the runner. This guy over here that's hidden in the corner, the one that I tuckerized, all of the various blocks, etc. But I go through both versions on the video series. Again, 8 videos, you get them all at once, all up front. So you can stop and start, you can put them on pause. I never know whether or not you shut me off because you've just had enough of listening to me. Have I given you a Leanne headache and you just had enough? I get teased about that regularly. So much information. But that's what we're all about here. Today's an example of how much there is to share within this quilting community, no matter what your style of projects are, whether it's precision, whether it's freeform, whether it's slow down for relaxing, whether it's making clothes. Oh my gosh. I should take the class because it would scare the heck out of me, but it would be so much fun. So we're thrilled to share so many different kinds of ideas in so many different ways of presentation, etc. Get you to use your fabrics, your skills, and we need to keep learning, everybody. It keeps the brain active, keeps us young. gotta keep learning, and we're here to facilitate that.
Thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
I'm just gonna plug the Stitchy Stars a little bit more
Oh,
too,
okay.
because
Yeah, you're.
you don't have to make a runner out of this. You can use this as a skill builder, you know, learn how to make different blocks, make multiples of them, make it into a quilt. It doesn't have to be a table runner. It can be a quilt too. So just wanted to sort of say that. And if you're worried at all about it being a virtual class, Lan is, I think, an even more phenomenal teacher on video than she is in person. So she walks you through everything so that there are very minimal, if any, questions left by the time you're done.
Tammy listens to it second by second because she edits the entire video. So it has, Tammy's speaking from a very authoritative position.
I haven't necessarily learned anything.
She's so good in supporting me doing that. As is Noreen.
Okay, so we got in this fabric when, like,
The fall sometime,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
November.
and I looked at that and thought, oh my goodness, that needs to be a tote bag. So we figured it out, and we ended up writing a new pattern for it because it was based off of the everyday tote, which is a very basic, simple tote, but the way it needed to be constructed was just enough of a change that I wasn't gonna bother writing addendums to another pattern. I just started with a whole new pattern. So this is a one-day class. You can use a border print, you can use a nice big print fabric, you can use vinyl on the bottom. We do have some coming in, and or you can use another cotton or a canvas or something like that. That has all the other fabrics there. So there is a little bit of pre-work to do, but one full day, you'll have it done when you go home, and it's a great way to get into making bags because it's nice, basic. You can do a slip pocket or a zipper pocket, or one or the other, or both if you want to learn how to do that, and then you're good to go.
I think we have a couple of kits left. Most of them are gone, and we're out of the border print fabric.
Yeah.
So if you are in love with this, grab a kit.
We do have a couple other border prints though from Jason Yenter that would work really well. Completely different look, but the border print that was used for that isn't your typical border print. It has from selvage to selvage 4 rows, where most border prints usually have like 8, sometimes even 10. So you want the ones with the wider prints. Yeah.
And I have to say, one of the things you really learn when doing a class with Tammy is all the details that she adds to just elevates it. Her thread, which in here she's using like a nice variegated that it just makes it pop. And you might look at it at first and think, gee, that's a really pretty. But when you look at the details that she has put in, that's what makes it look phenomenal.
And you can do it.
Yeah.
She can teach you how.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just that those are the things that I look at when I look at these kind of bags. So
And I probably won't make you cry.
She saves that for me.
Yeah. Wait till the end of the day.
Yeah, in class.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do whatever you want when you go home. I came up with this one after seeing a couple of similar bags that weren't quite big enough. So I made my own of this as well. Probably, I want to say,
It was
like,
more than 10 years ago.
I don't know if it was 10, but definitely at least 8, because it was before I started working here. So we call this the all rolled up tote, and you basically set it on your desk like that, and this part kind of folds down so that you have like a little tray to just dump all your stuff in while you're working. It has four pockets in it, and 2 clear removable pockets that clip in, and a little sleeve underneath for your smaller rulers and stuff. You slip your pattern under there, whatever. You can keep an absolute ton of stuff in this bag. I use it for all my sewing things, my rotary cutter, scissors, marking pens, thread, all that stuff, and it just kind of travels around with me wherever I go, either in the house or here or retreat, whatever. Everything's all in here pretty much, and you just pick it up and go.
We see them quite frequently in class. I don't know, any of you have them? Have one?
Yeah, I see a few people in here.
So,
taking the
yeah,
class
so there's
before, yeah.
real advocates for it, so, yeah,
So-
that's fabulous.
That's 2 half days, and there is a little bit of work in between, but it's totally doable in those 2 half days, and then you have an awesome bag for all your sewing stuff.
Love it. Excellent. Those were
So-
back by popular request. People have been saying Tammy needs to
Yes.
teach bag classes again.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you all for coming. Spread the word about our classes. Sign up. If you're interested, you can sign up online, you can sign up in the store. I'm just gonna mention one other quick thing, and that is that, if you read the newsletter last week and you noticed that, Dawn's little editorial at the bottom talked about the local quilt shop contest, so I just wanted to mention that again to you, that it is an international contest that, it's just a lot of fun to, ask our customers to say a few comments about the quilt shop, about Quilters Cupboard, tell us what you think, and, just give us a little vote and see if we can add some good vibes out there in the community for Quilters Cupboard. So we do have little handouts you can pick up. You just take a picture of the QR code, and that takes you right to the spot to vote, and you can read all about the contest. So thank you for that. We do have our door prize draw.
Did we skip over show and tell?
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry.
I'm notorious for forgetting show and tell, and today I'm the one who remembered.
I'm so sorry. I'm just conscious of the time that we've taken with you sitting here, but absolutely we want to see your show and
There
tell.
was a couple bags that came in,
There
so
were
that's
some
what made me think
biggies,
of
I
it.
know, so my apologies. Who's first? Marilyn?
The front row?
Thank you, Leanne.
Oh, yeah, no, it's usually me who forgets.
Okay, that's what I made with,
Oh,
with,
yes.
with the material that I won.
Isn't that beautiful?
Wow.
That little roll up
Yep,
of,
Marilyn's so
isn't
good
that-
for bringing it
And I
back.
found out that this is black background. The previous one I won had a purple background, but the same material.
Lovely.
Wow.
And
It did come
quilted beautifully, you can really see sometimes on the back. Very nice. That's a sweet little pattern. It doesn't have to be a big project. Sometimes this is,
Yeah.
you know, what you have the time for or the person you wanna give it to. How quilt worthy are they?
Yeah, do they get a pincushion or do they get a queen size?
Is there an up and a down?
It's a jelly bean roll.
Oh, my goodness.
This, my son went to Newfoundland in September and brought me back a meter of this material.
jelly bean roll.
So what am I gonna do with it? So 3-yard quilt. And there you have it.
That is
And
fun.
2 weeks ago, I came in, 2 weeks ago today, and bought the backing.
This
I
is
phoned- I phoned-
fireside.
Fireside, I phoned Deb,
Feels so good.
and she said, oh, you can bring it down today, so I took it down that day. Monday, she phones me and says it's finished. That's how fast
So
she
Marilyn's
is.
talking about Deb sitting towards the back, who has a long arm machine, and she does amazing quilting as well as clothing alterations, wedding gown alterations, my daughter.
And Jean's coat here.
That's right, so, and she's fast and wonderful. And look at that, how
That
sweet is that?
just gorgeous, Marilyn. I know there was a couple of other pieces of fabric that your son brought in, that you brought in. This is so fun,
What
isn't it?
fun.
I know, I've been looking.
There's lots of different patterns in those 3-yard quilt books, great for ideas and not super intense with the patterns and can be whisked up fairly quickly. Very nice, thank you, lovely.
No? Oh, and there's,
Colleen, do you wanna come up?
that's just beautiful. Was this in it as well?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Yeah, it was all dark.
Beautiful.
Oh, look at this.
Oh,
So you come around the front so you can talk about it, we'll hold it up.
It's one of Leanne's closets, cut crystal, which is using
So, no, this uses the wedge, the wedge star ruler, one of the Studio 180 design rulers that makes these 8-pointed stars, not the same as a Lemoyne though. These have vertical and horizontal diamonds that are much more straight up and down and across. And it, when paired with other kinds of components, it can give you a circular look with no circular actual piecing required. So how pretty is that? And look at her in quilting. That's amazing. Colleen does all her own quilting on her domestic machine.
Wow.
Yeah.
and there's a lovely little embroidery here on the binding.
Oh, yeah, I got that from someone else.
Made by Colleen Perry.
Christine. It's
Yeah.
beautiful, Colleen.
Beautiful.
Very nice. That's a labor of love.
So when do you teach a class on free motion quilting?
What else is in your bag there?
This one has been a long time. Finished it last night. Well,
Did you?
no, the binding's not. I just finished the
Oh,
quilting last night.
oh, okay.
I think you can do that one.
Colleen will bring a quilt to class. I don't know if I'm done with quilting this. It needs a little bit more, a little bit more.
This was Kathy Wiley.
Yeah,
Instrument of Praise.
instruments of praise. There's applique for you. That'll make Tammy's heart go pit a pound.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Kathy Wiley is inspirational. So much of her work is incredible. I love her patterns.
How do you do your applique?
This one, how did I do it? That applique fuse thing and glued down. Yeah, I can't needle turn, no. And it's not the greatest applique, but, oh, it's.
And the intense quilting in here, the micro stitching is making more designs in the quilting pop out even. Wow, that's a beauty. You need to enter that into a quilt show or something somewhere.
Because everybody would look at it and go, oh, yeah, the points aren't getting.
No, they wouldn't.
Oh, yeah, because they're not. It is
Well,
what it is.
then love and enjoy it yourself.
Did it bring you joy to make that?
Gorgeous.
Did you enjoy
it?
No, seriously. No, I think, well,
Yeah.
it's got memory, because, the big blocks were in South Africa with me. as
Okay.
winter. So I did that on our long bus rides from point A to point B. So that, a lot of that was done there.
So it's travel.
So much of it is
hold
just
those
the whole
memories.
memories of
Yeah.
it.
And I listened to
memories.
books when I sew, so I was listening to someone I was applicating, and I actually remember the books I was listening to. It's kind of weird, but.
And it's been a whip for a while.
Yes.
Been a work in progress
Well, I had
for
to
a
get
while.
better at machine quilting before I could finish it. The top's been done for years, it was just, I had to be able to
Beautiful.
screw it out.
That's incredible.
Wow.
Very
Keeping it or
nice.
gifting it? You're keeping it, you're keeping it, right?
Yeah, I gifted a few quilts, but I was saying, Judy, like, when you don't really get a thank you back, I kind of stopped. Like, a thank you to me is not a quick message on Instagram or a Facebook message, which I'm not even on. It's like,
Yes.
you. When you pay that amount of money and you can't even be bothered to even, maybe even just an email, how hard is that?
They see it at $200 in the mall, and they assume that that's, like rent.
But even $200, isn't that worth a thank you?
Yeah.
Like, if that's what you thought it cost?
Our grandson telephoned us, he just moved to Quebec, to Montreal. And I had given him a quilt about a year before, and he said, I'm here by myself, and he said, I got so lonely, Grandma, I went and dug out your quilt, wrapped myself in it, and felt I was with you.
That's my word, yeah.
That's why we did it.
Oh, yes.
Lovely.
It wasn't perfect, but
Look at that, isn't that wonderful?
A lovely set of placemats.
Oh, those
How
are
cute
so
are
pretty.
those?
Gorgeous. Huh?
Some of them are different.
Just,
Yeah.
they were so
Beautiful.
simple.
How fun is that to do with little rail fence blocks?
Yeah, exactly.
Sweet, very nice. What have you got in there?
I have the fusible,
It's like, okay, like it's a stiffer interfacing, but it's not, interform or anything, gives it nice body.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Those are gorgeous.
Those are really cute.
I like the angled corners.
Mhm.
Yeah, I do too. And this is another 3-yard quilt.
Oh, I like that.
That's
Um,
lovely.
Beautiful.
And each of the pattern tells you, you know, where the feature fabric is going to go, and then you have a light and a dark contrast.
Yeah.
So fabric 1, fabric 2, and fabric 3. Yeah.
Like a Jane Eyre kind
That's
of.
gorgeous. Oh, look at
Now,
that.
okay, so, Jean came in and she said she won a fat quarter bundle, and she wanted to know what kind of a pattern, kind of idea could you turn those fat quarters into. There's maybe a dozen in the bundle. And so we were kicking around ideas about what about a 3-yard quilt. So in the pattern, it may say to you that you have the same fabric in all of those spots, but they could be different. They could easily be a variety of fabrics from a bundle that is already nicely coordinated, etc. And maybe you just need a little bit that is your contrast that goes around it. Or you have a certain fabric that has a nice coordinating one, but it's different from the one down here and the one over there. It's gonna have a little bit of a scrappier feel to it, but it's not overly complex piecing. It can be doable fairly quickly, and that's not gonna be any bigger than the length of a fat quarter piece, etc. A great way to adapt something like that. You can decide whether or not you want a border to go around it that you might need to buy a bit more yardage for, but certainly doable to turn into scrappy as well. Very nice, Judy.
Yeah.
So soft and pretty.
Deb?
Leanne has seen it.
I'll see them again, because, you know, I might not remember. Not true, but. Debbie is so creative. She just makes up something new and different
And it was just.
all the time.
Anybody recognize
That's right there.
Scandy
Mm-hmm.
from the back? It's a take on a Lemoyne Star, right?
It's that, but wait, there's more.
It's about way Isn't that gorgeous?
And so then she bordered it using a couple of the other tools that she's got at home. So Tucker trimmer to make the hourglass blocks, and the diamond Rex, and the square squared.
V-block?
Yes, we had great fun with the
Yeah.
trees at the last class. And so there's a little V-block at the top, and then these guys just have the top shaved off of it to give it.
Leanne came up with that, and I just love it, because I did one of those fat trees that you see when I just
Lots of
looked up a
patterns.
tree online.
Yeah.
And they cut it, there were so cut up pieces to piece it in. This looked so much better.
We brainstorm a lot in your classes.
Yeah, I did that, trees upside down, because I hang it on the back of a couch that you can walk around.
See, the ones at the bottom are right side up for those of you that are concerned.
But I stared at her block that we did in class for a year. And then
This
someone brought me in a quilt that had that border, that I kept looking at it, wanting it to look like a snowflake. So that was my idea.
Hold it up one more time, Leanne.
And beautifully quilted as
Yeah.
well. And we need to turn it around so you can see the back.
It is
Well,
spectacular too.
These could be orphan blocks. They could be what you need to grow your backing. Sometimes it's just a little bit bigger than a width of fabric that you need, and instead of buying 2 or 3 big passes of something, consider framing and putting some extra bits, et cetera, on it.
Look how square this
How
is.
perfect
This
this
is
is.
the
That's
back.
ridiculous.
Long arm quilted by Deb.
Yeah, I think she knows what she's doing there.
That's just fun.
Beautifully
Well done,
done.
Deb. It's gorgeous.
Thanks for bringing that.
I've gotten to enjoy watching this process through the classes on the days and that
Oh,
you've been
yes.
bringing it in, just to see it all come together, it's been, it's amazing.
Watch it grow.
I should
Yeah.
do it in some colors that people are more interested
But this
in, 'cause
is-
I love it, but
yes,
I
this
just,
is your
it's
color.
weird
This is
colors.
yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there a bag? No, it just came up, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have some more in the back. All right, thank you all, those are just so inspiring.
Everybody has their name here?
Everybody's got
I
their
even
name
asked
in?
them, I prompted at the beginning.
Okay,
I got one more name.
yep, hold on.
Builds anticipation.
I didn't talk about it.
Oh, okay.
No. It depended on where the conversation ebbed and flowed to.
Just ready. Yeah.
I was ready. Got my strip stick and my water strip and, yeah, I was ready for anything.
We're going to let Kelly, our guest teacher, draw.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah. None of them can.
Kathy Brown.
She laughed.
Kathy left.
Oh, she didn't tell us she needed to leave early.
Okay, well, we'll catch her next time.
Peggy Chapman.
Very nice. Yes.
Choice of a fat quarter.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Marilyn. And you can draw, Peggy.
Colleen.
Oh,
She just ran into the washroom.
Well,
Yeah, she just ran into the washroom. Yeah,
That's
here,
a good one,
pick
Kelly.
something. Here she comes.
quarter choice.
Sue Edlin.
oh, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. We'll get counting. So, thank you.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
If you wanna have a look at anything, please feel free to talk to the teachers. Can't remember when our next demo day is, but we'll let you know.
That was called,
Hi, Sue.
Street. That's okay, I'm still the first one.
Which one? Oh. No, I already have one. This one? She's been with her boyfriend. You know, we keep thinking we're gonna be getting engaged today or today, you know, they're moving to different. That's okay. If not, I can give you the name.
Yeah, just now.
Thanks.
Oh, do we not?
Oh.
We were talking about. So we didn't have it.
Wednesday, March 26th.
I think I'm free for online. And I was looking at the roll up there, but I think I'm busy that day. Or if you have the planning guide. Thursday.
I love mine. I did it like years and years and years ago.
Did you have to borrow mine?
Can't find her sleeve. There it is.
Nice to see you, Barbara. And how are you guys doing?
Yes. No, you do not. You can choose anyone of Disney's. No, everybody keeps
I know one of these days, I know I have to switch.
We've had it for so long, I don't want to get it. So if you guys want to sign up, I can tell you. Yeah, it was so fun. I will be on the phone after this.
I said it was, right? Yeah, I haven't been to but it's just like, yeah, me too. I was listening to it.
I've already prepped all the emails, so you will be getting emails from me because our first class will be my first.
Okay, so if you're able to, I will be totally rested and ready for you.